All right, the other stream should be up and running here in just a second. All right, got plenty to go over today. So let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for March 4th, 2021. Q's down 1.6%, SPY down 1.24%, and just for fun, IWM down 2.7%. Coming into today, bearish on the Qs and SPY. We had this range. We broke below the range. As we talked about yesterday, Qs went first in clearing the range, and so we were bearish today. Now, I expected if we had a decent gap down today, that it would give us a short-term bounce. If we got a gap up, still would be bearish on the Qs, expecting that the rally to get sold. So, anticipating those two things, even though we were bearish coming into today, we didn't really get either of those two things. Now, as you'll see, I'll go over the plays from today, so it wasn't really that essential to what I played this today. But you know, kind of just what I was anticipating, at least what the easier, predictable, what I thought predictable market action would be at the open wasn't quite how it played out. In the after hours, market was down a good amount, and then kind of recovered, was down I think over 1%, and then recovered, and then we kind of got this bounce. And the bounce in the morning was kind of small. I kind of was thinking more into the afternoon would be where we would get the decent sell setup to work with. Ended up, yeah, I guess it was more towards the kind of late morning into the early afternoon into lunch, and then we got the sell-off. Okay, so yeah, the selling came up a little bit earlier than expected, and that's something that you know, I wish that I learned it on my own, but someone else kind of has taught to me. Often when we're bullish, we're not bullish enough, and when we're bearish, we're not bearish enough. Right? There's something that I think Sammy says all the time to kind of remind us that it's yeah, often just kind of the way of the market. So bearish coming into today. We got some pretty good follow through today. So then what is the expectation going into tomorrow? Actually the same as today. Because we're 3 days down here on the Qs, 3 days down, if we get a gap down, look for that 10 o'clock, 10:30 reversal times as potential buying opportunities. If we gap up, I'm not expecting too much of a rally just because of how weak we've been. Okay, so, and then again, looking for the afternoon for a sell setup. Say we get a sell setup at the declining 20. Okay, so again, bearish going into tomorrow, but we have gotten a pretty decent follow through already to the downside, right? So I'm not expecting us to gap down and just fall apart. We could, not saying that's not possible, but it's not what I'm expecting. Okay, on the Qs and SPY. So still bearish, but we're gonna need to see either a sell setup form, or if we base on Friday and then Monday morning get continuation. Okay, so not so still bearish on the Qs and SPY here, just not expecting right at the open tomorrow morning for us to fall apart. All right, let's go over the plays from today. Very first play here after the initial kind of market volatility. Liked how the MRVL was basing at the lows here. So this was a base breakdown here on the Marvell. It's pretty good. I'm fine with the gap. Target one was the daily 200 there, around 41.20. So it did get there, get to the first target. Where I messed this up is on the management. The original stop I was using was going back to the resistance off of the 1 minute here. I'll show you. And we'll put a line on this chart here just to make it clear. So this green bar got a pop and then no follow through, right? So I was pretty confident that if I use this as a stop, I won't get shaken out. So that was the initial. I think I used 42.95. That was where my initial stop was going to be. 42.95. Breakdown. You could have used a tighter stop. I used the a little bit looser stop, just the top of that green bar there. Took the first target there as we got to 41.20. And then as it was moving back up, got a little bit uncomfortable with the pushback here. So you can see my stop was 42.95. And then we got this big green bar, and I decided to kill the back half a little bit worse than break even. Okay, so as it was popping here, as it took out that. And, you know, that's kind of worst thing that you can do when it comes to management, at least consistently, because you either take the whole thing here when the money's there, or if you're going to live through the pullback, then live through the pullback. Now, I couldn't have known that the market was going to fall apart in the afternoon, but if you think about it in terms of reward to risk, I mean, how much am I saving? Potentially 1 hour. How much am I potentially missing out on? Multiple R's, right? So you don't want to do it too much, okay? Now, if your plays aren't working, maybe you hit a cold streak, or maybe you're still trying to figure out what your trading style is, okay, then fine. Maybe killing it at break even is preventing you from taking a lot of losses. But, you know, when you're doing well and you're picking on plays and the market's moving, it's just not a good thing to do too much, okay? And a lot of times you're just going to get yourself out of the winners. And even if you're right kind of most of the time about getting out early, it's the ones that you're wrong about could potentially end up being really big plays. And usually that is going to result net with you leaving money on the table, okay? So Marvell's first play. So it was okay. It's just a small winner on the Marvell. Next play was the Genius. Went after this Genius here over this base here. Did get to a target 1, but because I was looking for more, I really liked the relative strength this was showing to the market. The back half didn't work. Okay, so got some on the front half and the back half. Ended up being a small loss on the Genius. And then the third play was the VRM. VRM we played as a base breakdown here. Okay, first target was 31. And then we took some more on the new lows and then took the rest. I think the last trail there was over 30.20. So pretty good exit on that last piece. Just because we got a little bit of volume increase there. You can see here it is. See, a little bit of volume increase. I didn't really have a good place to trail this. You can see the 15-minute is pretty continuous here. There's no pivots. The hourly was still way back up here, I think, at like 31.70. Yeah, 31.64. So because of the spread, I'd give it to 31.70. So that was $1.50 away from 30.20. So let's go ahead and take the rest of it down here because I don't really have a good place to trail. Okay, on the VRM. So we played the breakdown underneath 32.25. The stop was 33.10. So I was using the top of this base plus some additional for the spread. So that was the kind of the play in the afternoon. That was pretty nice, the VRM. Market, of course, helped. Okay, and this I almost missed it. Gave you guys the order and had to get it 10 cents late myself because it kind of just started going. Market started going and kind of pulled everything down with it pretty quick. So that was the VRM in the afternoon. So those were the 3 plays for me today. Felt like there was more to do than just that, but those were the things that I gave you numbers on. Okay. All right. Okay, so those were the plays from today. Going to tomorrow, still bearish, but not expecting too much tomorrow. I think if we get a rally, won't be that big. We could get a gap up of some kind just because I know there's going to be news in the morning. But we'll see. Still going to be bearish going into tomorrow. All right. All right. Hope you did well today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Have a good evening.